President Obama decries wild, wild west media landscape. He said this in a speech in Pittsburgh. He says here, quote, "We are going to have to rebuild within this wild, wild west of information flow some sort of curating function that people agree to." He was talking to all the conspiracy theories, just look at all the ones about him, starting from his birth certificate, and then it goes on and on and on. He goes on to say there has to be, I think, some sort of way in which we can sort through information that passes some basic truthness tests, and those that we have to discard because they just don't have any basis in anything that's actually happening in the world. He did say, though, quote, that the answer is obviously not censorship, but it's creating places where people can say, this is reliable, and I'm still able to argue safely about facts and what we should do about it. He talked about how back in the day, when there was like 3 prominent news stations, and that they fact-checked and there weren't conspiracy theories like there are today. Thoughts, 5 words or less?
Obama 2016.
Can you go month to month?
No news is good news.
Use your common sense? I don't understand how people buy into these theories. I hate how I have to Snopes people like on Facebook. Like, yo, really? Come on.
You know, that's what I was gonna say. I think that's a bigger problem than anything else, is because of Facebook and Twitter. Is all of these fake websites, and there's a website where you can fact check these other websites, but there's stories that come out that are so they get it for clicks, because that's how you monetize Facebook a lot of times, is by getting people to click on these different articles. And even if you look in your TMZ app or some of these different apps, they'll have this story, oh, such and such broke up, or if you want to look like this guy, which I've done that a couple times.
Yeah, for sure. You won't believe where the snake went. You're just like, I don't know. Where did it go?
But it's because of these sites that's really messing everything up. And that's what he means about the wild, wild west of information flow. Because then I'll get a text from someone, I'd be like, yo, did such and such do this? And I'm like, where did you hear that from? And they're like, yo, this link. I'm like, yo, it's fake. Like, what are you doing? Like, how are you listening to this?
A quick summary of what has happened to the news is, it used to be that the news was part of
I'm loving this right
ABC,
now. Like, I love when Brett becomes Professor Brett. Sorry, Professor
ABC,
Brett.
CBS, NBC. Those companies were
Jennings, Dan Rather.
Even before that, like,
Walter Cronkite.
Walter Cronkite. So those people were part of the news bureau, and the news bureau of those networks could lose money, and they were proud to. Go ahead, report the news. Go ahead, have your little press thing in your hat and take, a cigarette. Then there were people that showed up that needed to make money off the news. And the way you make money off the news is to build your audience by pandering, essentially. And so now CNN started to do it 24/7, Fox News. That was the first step. And so now you have Fox being like, we're telling news to our audience, which is actually how it used to be back in the 1770s. Like, read the Federalist Papers. That's for people who believed in them. And right or wrong, that's what happened. So the next step is actually the technologization of the news, which is now your Facebook feed, your Twitter feed, and everything else that is related to social media is designed to learn what you believe and tell you it again from someone else with the most salacious, ridiculous headline possible. So you need to make that decision. Do you want to go do your homework? Because that area you can turn to that is the straight news still kind of exists with network news, but not completely. Just look at their headlines. You need to ask yourself, do I just want to be told what I believe again, or do I want to actually do my homework and find out the truth? And it's getting harder and harder every day.
Yeah, and I think that it's so important
Thank you,
what
Brett.
you're saying.
Professor Brett.
Yeah.
Thank you, Professor Brett.
I think it's so important that if when you're trying to find a credible news source, which I know can be so frustrating and difficult these days, you look at something, you read an article, and then my first question is, should I Snopes this? Who actually owns this website? Why am I being fed this information? You have to take responsibility for yourself and take agency for the sources that you are going to, because again, they're not going to do it for you. They are going to feed you what you already believe. So you do have to go out of your way to make sure that you are looking up credible resources, and it's worth doing the extra homework, because otherwise you're just going to be believing lies.
And see the other side,
sure.
even if it's based on truth. I think now more than ever, we're so divisive in the fact that we're staunchly right or staunchly left, and we don't try to come together. We don't try and see the other person's side. Even if it's against your political beliefs, at least try and see where they're coming from, so then you can build a solution.
And it's the self-help model. My mom gave me the book The Secret. And it's a very, or not The Secret, whatever it is, Eckhart Tolle, some weird shit. And the way those books are written is they tell you something it's impossible to disagree with. They tell you another thing it's impossible to disagree with. Look outside, the sky is blue. The sun rises every day. You just get, and that's how literally that book starts. And you get used to agreeing with them. And so now you're kind of lazy with your news source that tells you something you kind of agree with, and then they can tell you anything because you already trust them as a news source.
It's powerful.
You need to read the frickin' article and use your brain to figure out if someone's lying to you.
Oh yeah, what was the statistic that you mentioned?
I don't
that-
remember what the
that
statistic was, but
majority
it's like 30% of people actually read the articles that they share.
That they share.
And I
So
don't know
most
if that's
people are
true.
looking
I
at
just saw that headline.
Hey, that's that's funny. All right, we're going to leave it on that now. Please share your thoughts in the comments section below. Don't forget to subscribe. Big round of applause for our guest, Kenny Hamilton. Yes, Kenny. Yes, and we'll see you all next time on Pop Trigger.